Hello, and welcome to the Wine Enthusiast podcast, your serving of drinks culture and the people who drive it. I'm Jordan Kaplan, managing editor here at Wine Enthusiast. No and low alcohol has been a dominant theme in the industry over the past several years, but is the future of drink trends paved with candy-like flavors and higher ABVs? Ready-to-drink cocktails continue to keep a steady hold on the market, and the ever-popular, brightly glowing BuzzBall is certainly pulling its weight. If you're not yet familiar with a BuzzBall, look no further than most checkout lines at your local liquor stores. With a huge selection of flavors, there's seemingly something for everyone. And not to mention they're fun. They look very fun. Similarly, over in the wine market, XXL is also using fun and dropping pretense to make its statement, dubbing itself the Moscato without manners. Our conversation today explores what these products are doing differently and what their popularity says about current trends and consumers. To get to these answers, I'm pulling in Kara Newman, Wine Enthusiast, Spirits and RTD taster, and Reggie Solomon, taster and writer at large, for their respective thoughts on these brands. Reggie, Kara, thank you both for being with us today. Excited to have you.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, so thrilled.
So you guys know today we're talking about some trends in the RTD space, but also some emerging trends in the alternative wine space. Interested in these because I think a lot of the industry right now has been focusing on the no and low kind of movement. And do these two particular products, BuzzBalls and XXL wine, kind of fly in the face of that? Is that where our trends are going, especially when it comes to RTDs? I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts, but Kara, would you mind taking us kind of through the space of where you see RTDs as they are right now and where they might be headed?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've been reviewing RTDs for the magazine for, I think, close to 2 years at this point, and it has been astonishing to see just how many of them have come onto the market, and also to see how the quality has changed over time. You know, they're not all fabulous, but there have been quite a lot of really good ones, like close to comparable to what you might find in your favorite bar. Again, not all of them, but certainly quite a few. And then in terms of numbers, I did a little quick research, not to dwell too much on just the numbers, but in 2024, those are some of the most recent figures. Even though this is according to the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States, even though in the same year, last year, vodka sales were flat and tequila and mezcal sales edged up just a little bit, 2% to be exact, RTDs spiked 16.5%, which is huge compared to every other category in the spirits universe, and I think wine and beer as well. And then according to IWSR, this is a different tracker of beverage alcohol trends, spirit-based RTDs in particular, which seem to be gaining more popularity. Spirit-based RTDs are forecast to grow 6% from 2023 through 2028. And if you have appetite for one more little stat, this one's also according to IWSR, more than 3,400 new RTD products launched across 10 key markets, including the U.S. in 2021. And by 2024, that actually slowed a bit to 1,800. And in part, that's because the RTD market has matured. You know, it's grown by such leaps and bounds that at some point it has to taper off a little bit. So that's really where we are right now by the numbers.
Interesting. So not one of my original questions, but I do wonder, do you think that this is the natural evolution from that seltzer boom that we saw a couple of years ago?
For sure. Yeah, I think there's definitely some evolution in there. I know at first we saw lots of malt bev-based flavored drinks. I mean, I know that we saw tequila, I'm saying some air quotes, tequila RTDs on the grocery store shelves made out of malt bev long before everything else. And I think spirits-based, it took a longer while to catch up. And in my opinion, the pandemic had a bit to do with that, with more people who were, consuming at home. And I think a lot of the spirits brands at that point, turned their attention toward, how do we find other ways to get consumers to enjoy our spirits as mixed drinks if not everybody wants to actually mix them, a la minute. But I think since the pandemic, where we've really seen a lot of growth is in non-home, non-bar environments. So, for example, at stadiums, at concerts. That's really where the growth is these days. And you still see the malt bevs on the shelves. I mean, High Noon hasn't gone anywhere. You still see hard seltzers everywhere, but you definitely see a lot more, let's say, tequila-based margaritas in cans, vodka sodas in cans, sitting alongside them pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I definitely have noticed. So, getting to one of our main stars of today, talking about BuzzBalls, a couple stats for you guys. 7 million cases in 2023 before their acquisition by Sazerac, I believe, and then an estimated over $500 million in revenue in 2024. These things are under $5 a pop. So, they're at every checkout counter. Kara, in your estimation, what do you think that this brand is doing well?
They're doing a lot of things really well. I mean, they're a really smart brand business-wise. I mean, funny story. I tried it when they were first coming onto the shelves. I was attending a trade show and was brought in to do a tasting of this little brand at, I mean, let's just say, I won't say the name of the show, but it was one not known for, super upscale brands. Like you see lots of like vodkas packaged in bottles shaped like firearms and things like that. But the point is that I was brought in to try it, and the owner at the time, it was founded by a woman who was a teacher in Texas, and she brought out these really cute little cans. The visuals are so great. That's one of the first things they've done super well. They look sort of like tennis balls or like toys. They come in bright colors. They're very tactile. They're easy to hold. And I was told at that meeting, you know what's so great about them? They float in the pool.
Oh.
And I was like, that's an interesting selling point. I can't remember a single thing about how it tasted. You see them everywhere. They've done a great job at designing the package. They've done a great job at distributing. You see them everywhere. And I think one of the smartest things they've done is they put this out in spirits-based, wine-based, and malt bev-based formula. So that means they can go anywhere, just depending on, local laws. You could see them at grocery stores and liquor stores and convenience stores. That was a pretty smart strategy. And when I heard that Sazerac purchased them, I was like, yep, that tracks.
The wine-based is super smart. I mean, tons and tons of places you see no liquor in grocery stores. So I agree. It's a very smart strategy. So let's quickly talk about the ABV. It's a tiny ball. How many ounces are we actually looking at for a standard serving of BuzzBalls?
I mean, these are 200 milliliters, and it's 15% ABV.
What is that telling you that by their popularity and the shift in the market, you think?
I mean, 6.5 ounces. I'm looking at two of them. One's milliliters, one's 6.5 ounces. I mean, that's a pretty substantial size. I mean, if a typical spirits pour is, anywhere from 1.5 to 2 ounces, and even combined with mixers, I mean, this is a full serving, a generous full serving. I'm not sure if that answered the question you're asking.
Yeah, I mean, it's begging my question of where the trend towards ABV is going. And Reggie, I'm interested in your thoughts on this too, because our other star is the XXL wines, which is, I believe, labeled the Moscato without manners. And I believe that their founder had a mission to support a higher ABV product that I think didn't take itself quite so seriously. And I'm just wondering if you guys see a consumer trend towards wanting a higher ABV or maybe a product that doesn't necessarily insist upon itself.
I mean, I think Kara will be the person who can talk a little bit more about the trends, but I can tell you with the wines that I try, most of them were 16% by XXL, and one was 21%. And I can tell you, the 16% and the 21%, they were all balanced. I mean, it sort of follows a trend in wine where we've seen climate change raise the ABVs of wine over time, but wineries have been able to balance things so that it doesn't feel out of character. It doesn't feel over alcoholic. And I would say that these RTDs that I try from XXL were really balanced. I didn't feel the alcohol the way that I expected that I would feel. And so I think that some of the trends that we're seeing in the wine industry with just the winemaking techniques and the techniques of RTD making, they're a little bit more advanced. They don't feel out of character. They feel, I don't like the word smooth, but they feel balanced.
And just for comparison, for a quote regular bottle of wine, where would you see a high ABV like that? Like in a large Zinfandel?
Oh yeah. I mean, so for Wine Enthusiast, I reviewed the wines from the Loire and Beaujolais, and like I'm going between like 12.5 to like 13.5, maybe 14% in a hot year, in a warm vintage. So 16% is what, I mean, that technically gets you, I think, into a different tax bracket for taxes on ABV levels. But red Zins, like really over extracted red Zins, 16%. You don't find that naturally except for certain grape varieties which take a lot of sun.
All right. And then Kara, what do you think about the success of something like BuzzBalls with that higher ABV in mind in comparison to this sort of like no and low alcohol trend? Are we moving away from that? Are we trying to find a middle ground? What do we think about the current climate for that?
Well, I mean, devil's advocate, I don't know that I agree that we're moving towards higher ABV necessarily. I think the markets of two minds, you've completely different sets of consumers, and I think there's actually a huge demand for lower ABV right now. I've seen so many vodka sodas come in that have barely any ABV at all. I mean, we're talking like 3%, 4%, and there's just enough. I mean, you get these cans and it's 90% fizz and just a small amount of vodka soda, tequila soda. You know what I'm saying? And there's a big demand for that. People sometimes want these fashionable crushers. But on the other end of the spectrum, I mean, again, it's a very different market, I think. There are people who want stronger drinks that are more similar to what they might get at a bar. And I see a lot of brands like, I think of Tip Top. They do these really small but powerful drinks in cans. And they're really quite good. Or I think of Social Hour, which is another bartender driven canned cocktail, also rather high ABV. But I mean, that's what a regular cocktail is like. It's going to have more of a punch and probably more flavor compared to just a simple long drink.
Okay. Do we think that there's generational preferences on the two? Do we think that millennials and people older than that are kind of gravitating towards like a lower ABV, or who's leading the interest in the low?
Oh, I mean, possibly. It's hard to say. I haven't seen statistics on the precise demographics. I mean, right now, the generally accepted demographic wisdom is that, younger drinkers, Gen Z, are not drinking as much. Although, at the same, as I'm saying, 'cause I know we've also seen studies that have contradicted that, and that older, millennial, Gen X, looking for, stronger ABV, more traditional serves. But it's hard to really characterize. I haven't seen anything that really satisfies me in terms of saying, oh, if you're this old, do you want something that's this strong or not?
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about in terms of XXL. Reggie, do you think that this product is a good entry point into wine for people who might be intimidated by it?
Well, I mean, one of the things, like when I was tasting through these wines, and we can talk a little bit about them later, we'll talk a little bit more specifically about them. I thought that these wines were really great to be poured over ice and to be enjoyed on the backyard. I mean, because it's hot here, and I just kept thinking I would love to like open this, like put this in the fridge, which I did, all of these, and pour in a little bit of sparkling water and like have these beverages sort of like lessen the alcohol with the volume, even though that they're concentrated with their flavors. I found them like really compelling as a mixer, in addition to like, if you wanted to enjoy them on their own. They're relatively sweet. So for me, I prefer like a little less sweetness. So I like that it is, to me, it's a great wine base to make other things. And, when we talk a little bit more about the specific wines, we can get into that. But yeah.
Amazing. Let's talk about the marketing of these two products. I know we touched on it a little bit with BuzzBalls, but Reggie, what was your impression of the marketing from the bottles?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they are going definitely for a younger audience it's a very straightforward marketing. It's hitting you right there. It demands your attention and it doesn't give more information than the consumer wants to consume. I was actually very impressed with the restraint because what they were doing was presenting a product and giving a picture of what the consumer could expect on the label. And it delivered without going into too much tech.
Okay. And then, Kara, I know we talked a little bit about what you thought that they were doing right. Is there anything else about the way they've marketed it that has impressed you or with the success that they've had so far?
Well, this one I can say with authority that they have captured Gen Z's attention. I mean, this one, it's a market leader for Gen Z specifically. They've done a great job at making it look like something fun, eye-catching. It kind of looks like a toy. And you also mentioned yourself, Jordan, that you've seen it positioned at counter displays all over the place. They've done a great job at making sure that it's easy to find, easy to see, accessible to get.
And the fun and the shape, I can picture a million marketing campaigns right off the top of my head. So I feel like they have a lot of room with the way they've designed and packaged this.
Yeah, I mean, they're cute. I mean, they stack. They literally stack on top of one another. They're fun. They made it fun.
Yeah, they're summery, but they look like Christmas ornaments. They're versatile even.
And they float in the pool.
Hey, Kara, do you put these in the fridge or did you pour these over ice? I was just curious.
It's a good question.
I did not pour them over ice. I haven't opened them yet. I do have some ice cubes here with me. I was going to try them both ways. But I think RTDs are almost always better over ice.
That actually is interesting to know. Even you think the sparkling ones we think are better poured out?
They're always better chilled. And when I'm testing them for the magazine, I will test them both straight and over ice. And every time, bar none, they're better either over ice or chilled, like espresso martinis or let's say ready to drink Manhattans that would typically be served up. They're always better if they're shaken over ice or poured over ice. They must often be formulated with dilution in mind.
Okay. So let's get into the fun part. Let's do a little tasting. Reggie, do you want to start with the XXL and just let us know what you're tasting?
Yeah. So I got 5 flavors: apple, strawberry, blackberry, peach, and Cali Extreme 21. So, of course, I usually start at when I'm tasting here, white wines to red wine. So I'm going to start with the lightest. So I started with apple, which I really liked. So this is the note that I wrote for this wine. I just tasted it this morning a couple hours before we just got on. So I got freshly sliced Granny Smith apple, pear skin, and sour apple BlowPop aromas, which are spritzed with a twist of lime on the nose. It's sort of like a sweet, sour apple candy flavors like you might get at the store in the checkout aisle on your way out the store. But the palate is creamy in texture. It's sort of like an adult lollipop. And it would pair well with fried and salty foods.
Okay. Do you find that a traditional tasting vernacular can be applied here? Or could you describe them that way?
Yeah, I don't know how not to use a traditional tasting vernacular. So for me, it's just, the only thing that's sort of different here is I didn't comment on the level of sweetness. So here, because all the wines were sweeter, I didn't necessarily make that part of a note because it's part of what it is.
Okay.
BlowPop is such a good tasting note. I love that.
Yeah,
it really tasted like an apple BlowPop.
Well, I'm interested to hear your next up.
Okay. So the strawberry, this one I didn't know what to expect. And for me, this was like muddled strawberries and red raspberries. that were sort of flirting with blackberry. And even though there's a blackberry flavor, I sort of got this there. So I don't know if they were made in the same like place and it just sort of like merged. But this was really berry compote to me that was sort of accented by dry red cherry flakes. It was robust, but yet springy.
I think that this is one of their better sellers.
Oh, the strawberry?
Yes.
Did they indicate how consumers typically use this, or whether or not like were people drinking this like straight up or over ice like Kara recommended?
I think the moniker Moscato without manners means it's up to you. I think you can choose your own adventure when it comes to it. I don't think that there's a lot of rules when it comes to XXL, which I think is extremely fun.
Okay, I like irreverent. So then I'll get to the blackberry. So this one was this wine sort of opened with like warmed blackberry. So think like sun-baked, like going foraging in the summer in August and finding those ripe wild strawberries out in the middle of a field. But it flirted with like Hawaiian punch and a little bit of peach skin. So the blackberry fruit had just like a little bit of elderflower almost mixed in it and cassis at the end. I thought this was one you could easily pair with a steak. I was like drinking this and thinking this would be what I would have with a steak if I wasn't having Cabernet. Okay, and then I'll finish the last two. So the last two, one was a peach. So, which I love peach sparkling sodas, which is, I'm from Georgia originally, so for the peach state. So I was particularly excited about this one. So for this one was really like a gentle peach soda with like white nectarine aromas, but with just like a little sprinkling of white blossom. So the palate was more baked peach than fresh peach, but there were sort of like hints of white rose petal and just a little bit of cassis, which was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. This would be the one that I would ideally pour over ice and then pour in a little sparkling water on top. Like that would make this one ideal. And even like maybe a freshly cut piece of peach as a slice to put on the edge of the glass. That's how I would serve it up to a guest.
I was going to say, are we having this with slices in a pitcher on the porch on a really hot summer day? Because that's kind of what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, totally. You could put all sorts of fruit in here and make it sort of like a peach sangria type thing.
Lovely. So, and I think your last one is their noted bestseller and also our juggernaut ABV, as we discussed earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel the 21%. I mean, again, this is something I think that people have gotten better at balancing out higher alcohols as like it's a trend just in the wine industry in general. So for this one, I got like fresh blueberry, boysenberry, dry cherry aromas. There were like rose hip, but like with a little bit of young, tender strawberry leaf. One of the things that's really interesting about this wine is that the palate was sort of like cocoa powder dusted. So you get these sort of chocolate aromas. But with just a tinge of forest floor and mushroom, which was interesting because I wasn't expecting a little bit of savoriness. So this was really like, this was a chameleon. You know, I'd pair this with like chocolate, grilled meats, and like toasted nuts.
I'm actually, and this is your extreme red. I'm surprised that more people aren't intimidated by that. I love that it's their bestseller.
That's so interesting. For me, it would be the peach and the apple, but I'm glad other people are liking other things.
Well, thank you, Reggie, for your expertise.
You're welcome.
Now we'll move over to Kara with her BuzzBalls. She's going to be doing a live tasting for us, so I'm interested to see in your reactions and your notes here. And I would love to, if possible, if you wanted to liken them to a classic cocktail, if that comes to the top when you're giving a tasting.
Okay. All right. I'll do my best. Okay. So first up is the tequila Rita, and there's like an apostrophe Rita. They're not actually calling it a margarita, but all what's in it, I mean, it's exactly the same things as you find in margarita. Tequila, and vodka, and triple sec with lime and lemon juices, natural flavors, and FD&C yellow number 5. So I mean, I give them points for transparency. Okay. I mean, it pours bubbly. It's sort of an opaque sort of straw color and smells kind of lemony, limey. It's not quite the same bright green, like lime green that the container shows, but yeah, sure. It looks more like a natural margarita color. It's very sweet. Yeah, it's you get the sugar up front. Yeah, a little bit of effervescence, not too much. I mean, it's more like sweet tart. I don't really taste the tequila. There's nothing that really strikes me as like agave. I'm pouring the rest over ice, just as get a little swirl. Don't out me on my really casual drinkware here. This is a non-professional quality tasting. This is just for fun. And over ice, yeah, it's also very, very sugary. A little tart comes out on the end. I don't really taste any alcohol at all. It's very easy drinking, crushable, citrusy. More than anything else, it's citrusy. That's where I guess that lemon lime lollipop flavor, like Reggie mentioned lollipops, that's definitely the back of my mind. But yeah, that's where I come down on the tequila Rita.
Interesting that no alcohol is coming up with the vodka and the tequila in there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like it's 0% ABV either. I mean, 15% is still pretty hefty. That could really knock you down, especially if you have a couple of them. I mean, just for comparison, full strength is usually 40% ABV. So there's some dilution here, but it's not. There's still a fair amount in there. And then next up,
hey, Kara, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, like, of course.
What percent of the RTD category generally is sweet versus dry? Like, I'm curious, just as a category as a whole, like, what have you found in your like tastings of this category?
I'd say it's largely sweet. I mean, when it comes to dry, often it's like almost a tinge of sweetness. There are not a lot of savory RTDs I come across. There's some, but I say it's largely a very sweet category. And when I think of margaritas in particular, I mean, that's probably I don't know if it's the number one. I think probably vodka-based are our number one, but I think tequila is probably hot on its heels after that. And margarita cocktails specifically as an RTD format is definitely out there as a leader. So I think it's important for it to be done right to sell. But I also think it's a hard drink to really screw up. I don't know if I've ever tried any and said, oh, this is just outright terrible. The margarita is an easy one to do well, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just for this group, we're going to be doing canned dirty martinis.
I've had one. It was not my favorite.
I imagine it has to be hard. All right, what's up next for you, Kara?
Okay, so bright yellow container with red lettering. It's a chili mango, and definitely spicy margaritas. Again, huge category out in bars and definitely up and coming in RTDs. I do see quite a few spicy marg variations. I assume that's what this is meant to be. Yeah, tequila and vodka with natural flavors and certified color. That's what this says. Okay, so it's actually a pretty bright color. It's orange. Wasn't expecting that because the container is yellow, but it's sort of like like a mango-y orange soda orange, and has a really, really bold, pleasing tropical fruit scent. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, flavor's sweet up front. Then there's that kind of sizzle in the back to be sure. Yeah. Kind of has like I wouldn't say it's quite Kool-Aid, but it's kind of on the Kool-Aid spectrum. If there's like a mango Kool-Aid flavor, and they'll just pour that one over ice.
What kind of spice level are you getting?
Oh, it's pretty mild. I mean, I've only had one little taste of it, and the second one, sometimes it sneaks up on you after a bit, but I would say this is, not too bad. I mean, kind of like a small sprinkle of cayenne pepper, and just kind of hits you on the back of the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, very candy-like. The heat does definitely sneak up on you with the second sip for sure. So if somebody likes a good spicy, it does remind me of sometimes you'll see mango dipped in chili powder. You'll see street vendors selling them sometimes, and that very much reminds me of this. Though I'd say it's definitely more candy than like true tart fruit. But yeah, this is fun. I would try it. I would recommend it.
Okay. Are we having it over ice with like a chili lime rim or something?
Oh, that would be a really interesting interpretation. Yeah. I mean, I think the the tequila would probably appeal to a wider, the tequila Rita would probably appeal to a wider group. But if someone really loves a spicy marg, and some people love a spicy marg, I think the chili mango might be on your radar. Okay. And then the last one I'm doing is the espresso martini. So it's a brown container with white lettering, and the listing was in it. Malt beverage. Oh, so this one's not the spirit based. So this one is malt bev with coffee and other natural flavors. Okay. And it pours out. Well, it looks like coffee. I mean, it's brown, not effervescent. It smells like coffee. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Oh, it drinks like a really very thin coffee. Like, you get your bodega coffee and maybe they put a little too much water in there. Yeah, not my favorite. I'm not sure if I would have responded differently if this had been the spirit-based version, which I assume probably would be vodka-based, like a traditional espresso martini. I can say that espresso martini and coffee-based spirits have been among the most popular new flavors coming out in RTDs. I actually pulled some stats on this. According to IWSR, espresso martinis and similar drinks like Carajillos and White Russians, they've definitely led the RTD expansion. And so I feel like this would be an important one to get right. I've had quite a few ready-to-drink espresso martinis in our reviews, and I can say with conviction that they can be done very well. They can be done with really interesting espresso flavor, texture, like really good coffee flavor. They can be done in kind of a creamy style. Sometimes they pour out of cans. I feel like this is a missed opportunity because there are all these nitro coffees that come in canned format that you open and they pour like this beautiful crema and foam on the top. And this one does not. It's okay. It's not my favorite of the three.
I am curious about the occasion for that one and those specifically, because so much of the espresso martini fun is like the presentation and performance. So I'm curious where we're drinking a espresso martini RTD.
Probably if you're somewhere where you just want to keep on going, it's the late night party. You want to rally at the end of that concert. I don't know. Yeah, I think they're more fun at a bar, to be sure. Maybe at home if you're fancy and you have good glassware, but I'm not sure that's the BuzzBall vibe. Yeah, so I would probably steer someone toward the two tequila vodka drinks that I just tried first.
Okay, so maybe our pool day is the right day for those two.
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone's drinking espresso martinis at the pool.
Well, if they are, I would definitely want to know that person. As far as like a savory RTD trend, like, is there one cocktail that sort of does do that really well?
For sure, that would be the Bloody Mary. The Bloody Mary really is just a runaway when it comes to the RTD category in general. And obviously, savory cocktails are a big part of that. And I can actually say I just came back from the specialty food show, the fancy food show, and I've never seen so many Bloody Mary mixers, not necessarily ready to drink already with alcohol, but everything from golden farm to table Bloody Mary mixers to high-end, super spicy, turbocharged Bloody Marys.
Turbo scares me a little.
If you can do an extreme one, we can do a turbocharged Bloody Mary RTD.
That's true. That's true. Everyone needs a little more hair on their chest. Okay, so for both of you, just some good takeaways and some unexpected takeaways.
The unexpected takeaway for me was I really didn't realize how great these would be as potentially mixers. Like, I was thinking about all the things that I could add a dash of this to make it better. I was even thinking of like cooking Thai food and adding in a little bit of the peach and a little bit of the apple as like, it really like, how can I get these flavors without having to have a fresh apple or a fresh peach or a fresh blackberry? I was just thinking about like how I could use this in ways that I hadn't thought about, including in salad dressings. Like I was thinking if I put a little bit of this blackberry into my vinaigrette, like, or like the strawberries in my vinaigrette, like this might work. I mean, and it might give me a nice kick. So that was like the unexpected nice thing for me. Other than that, I mean, I thought the wines were actually really nice for what they are, for the category that they are in. And the extreme, Cali Extreme 21, I'm so curious how people are drinking this and what they're pairing it with and how they're, like, whether they're consuming it or just ice and having it straight, or whether or not bartenders are making this with cocktails. Because I just found it a very, like, it had, I don't normally find wines like this with an herbal character. Like it had the sweetness, but there was a definite like sort of mushroom forest floor herbal character that would make it a food pairing partner more so than the others. I wouldn't write off this category. I in my kitchen, I often keep like raspberry cordials and like other things that I mix sometimes with like salad dressings to give things oomph or to add to a souffle. And so now I'm thinking, this is a lower ABV version of something that I've been using in another way. And I'm thinking, well, this could be, if I could keep this in my fridge for a long period, this could actually be a lower alcohol way to spice things up the way that I've been spicing up with heavier alcohols.
So potentially a good option, especially if you're a wine-only cocktail and a restaurant, that these could be a great additive to a wine cocktail.
Yeah.
Okay, Kara, good, unexpected?
I think there's a lot of good options in the RTD category. And one of the things I keep coming back to is when you're drinking them, they're all about convenience more than anything else. And I think it's a good thing that you could have an option for these at, say, a brunch or a barbecue at home. And I think the unexpected is something that we were just literally just came to mind as we were having this conversation. And you said, I don't know who's drinking, the espresso martini, at home in the pool, but I want to get to know them. I'm thinking, you know what? It'd be a great option for an at-home brunch. I mean, instead of just having a pitcher of mimosas, I would be really happy to go to someone's brunch in their backyard and be presented with, an option to crack open my own espresso martini and just, drink it while hanging out around the pool. There's something for everyone. I like that.
Yeah. Or, in your bachelorette kickoff weekend kit, I could see it there too.
Yeah. There are a lot of applications for these.
Yeah. Okay. So I think what I've learned is these two products are versatile, which I think is probably a lot of what they aim to be. And yeah, I'm interested to see where both of these products go and how they evolve and how the market responds to them. And I thank you both greatly for your time and for your expertise on this. Thank you both again. So it feels like we're back to balance. If no one low calls to you, follow your heart. But there's no shame if your preferences lead you to a little more sugar and a responsible buzz, or even a salad dressing. I want to thank Kara and Reggie for their time and taste buds. And remember, you can email us your comments and questions at podcast@wineenthusiast.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to your favorite shows. You can also go to wineenthusiast.com/podcast for more episodes and transcripts. I'm Jordan Kaplan. Thanks for listening.